welcome back to our Bachelor in Paradise Morning After. I'm Anna.
I'm Gabby.
And we have joining us Annaliese.
Yay. Hi, guys.
Okay, so you were giving us a heart attack last night. We were so happy you finally got the rose. We get to keep watching you. We are shipping you and Kenny together. We love it.
It was fun. I was so nervous also, to be honest, that night. But I felt like going into that night, I just felt actually sort of at ease because I felt like I did everything I could. I put myself out there. I had the paradise experience that I really wanted. And so I was like kind of content at that point. I wanted to stay, of course, but I was like, if I go home, so be it. You know, at least I'm happy with who I was.
Yes. How did you feel? You said you watched it with girlfriends last night. How does you feel like watching that back? Do you get like that butterfly anxiety feeling?
All day yesterday. My stomach was like in knots, doing somersaults and all sorts of things. Just because it is weird watching yourself back, especially. You don't know exactly how things are going to play out. There's interviews that you don't know what people said, and so it is always a little bit nerve-wracking to see like how it actually unfolds.
Yeah, totally. And I loved how you took the initiative on both dates. When he came back from his date, you took him off for dessert. When you did the wrestling, I was like, "Go, girl!"
Well, that's one of the things that I learned about Kenny, just being friends with him, and that he was telling me that. Oh, I love when people take initiative, and he was really doing that. He was like with Crystal, especially. He was really stepping it up and like doing things for her. And so I was like, you know what? Regardless, like he is such a great guy. I want to do something nice for him. And so it was obviously appreciated, and it all worked out.
You put it all out there. You left it on the island.
Exactly. Exactly.
And I mean, Kenny was really getting a lot of attention last night from a lot of women.
I know. I actually didn't know any of that was happening.
Really? All those girls?
No, I didn't know he had kissed anyone else. And I mean, watching it back, I'm like, good for him. Like he was doing what we came there for, is to see if he had a connection with anyone. And I think at the end of the day, for us, it just came down to maybe being on the same page and I think we really had a strong friendship too, and so that's like a nice thing to build off of. And I think we were both just like, let's just have some fun and see where this goes.
Yeah, and you also like showed interest in like what he's interested in, so I think that worked.
It was also just so fun.
Yeah.
Selfishly, I was like, this is going to be really fun if we can just wrestle and he can show me some moves.
So did you feel happy watching last night that you got chosen over everyone else?
I mean, again, like being there was 4 girls that went home, so that's a lot of people. And
no, we were nervous for you.
Yeah, I mean, I had no idea. Again, I was like, I don't know how strong my connection is with him, and I don't know how strong it is with the other girls or compared to the other girls. And I just remember standing there thinking like, whatever is meant to be will be, and just, you know.
And that was the rose that was really left up in the air. They left it for the last one because everyone else you kind of knew. I guess there was the John, Jubilee, Carolyn love triangle, but pretty much everyone else you knew where their rose was going.
Yeah, and ours, it was totally up in the air, and but yeah, I mean, I'm so happy that I got the rose last night and was able to stay a little bit longer and see where everything sort of develops. But yeah, I was not at all going into it thinking like I'm 100% safe tonight. I completely was like, you know what, I might get it, but I also might be going home, and if I go home, I need to just be okay with that.
Yes. Okay, well, we're going to play a little fill-in-the-blank game with you. So we're going to read a sentence, and you are going to complete the sentence, starting with, Chris's apology last night to Tia was...
I wouldn't even call that an apology. He was talking in circles, didn't make any sense.
It's not an apology when you say, I'm sorry that you felt this way.
Right, take ownership, and I feel like, yes, we're all there to find love, and I think what he did was not necessarily bad. I think it was just how he dealt with it. Exactly. He should have been up front and told Tia what was going on with Crystal, I think. And
I just want to be clear that, like, I'm taking myself out of this triangle, and like I'm just gonna be.
That's fine. I mean, I had already made the decision.
Too. You'd already made what decision?
Like that was the case.
And it kind of worked out for everyone because Tia got out of what I don't think looked like it was going to be a good situation. Yeah. Crystal got in. She's totally into Chris.
Yeah.
Chris looks like he's into Crystal.
Yeah.
So there
again, everything happens for a reason, right?
And I'm kind of noticing Crystal's baby voice is coming back. The whole thing at the beginning was the baby voice was gone, but now I think it's resurfaced.
I think it might be for her like a little bit of a, she doesn't even know she's doing it, but it's like a flirting thing. So I think when it's like somebody she's interested in, then it sort of turns on a little bit.
Yeah.
Sure, okay.
Do you think Chris and Crystal are a good match?
I think so, yeah. I at this point, I feel like they've got a nice little something going. It's like they definitely have chemistry. They were hanging out a lot, having good conversation. So I think it's a good possibility for a relationship.
On the beach, did you find Chris genuine? Just curious. Because he is not coming across that way at all.
It's really funny. The first couple of days, I was like not really a fan. And as I got to know Chris more and more, he became one of my favorite people there. He just felt like one of my best guy friends from home. Like, I don't know. I felt like he was like a big brother. We had a lot of like long conversations, and I was like, yeah. So I think there's definitely two sides to Chris, and I think there is like a really, really great side to him, and I don't think people have fully seen him develop
at all.
I think when Chris is with Jordan, maybe that combination brings out like a worse side of him, because they're like last week it was like assigning a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's hard because I've seen a different side of Chris, so I really like him, but I do see, it's funny, again, I was watching with my girlfriends last night, and they're like, oh, we hate Chris, and I'm like, oh, I love Chris, he's so sweet. He's like one of the guys that I actually keep in touch with post-show and stuff. So
really?
Yeah. So and I talk to everyone, but he's like one of the people that I'm probably the closest to.
Is there anyone else you're keeping in touch with?
There's a couple people.
Because I think it was a week or two ago you did say you felt like you were leaving with a ring.
Yeah, you know what? I think going into Paradise, you just have to, it's like a vision board. You gotta just almost be like, this is where I see myself, and just put it out in the universe and see what happens.
Well, we are excited to keep watching them.
Yeah, definitely.
Colton and Tia giving their relationship a chance is...
over. It's like...
Are you tired of them? Because I'm tired of them.
Well, I just feel like, for me personally, being there, I do think they should give their relationship a chance, but I just didn't feel like being in Paradise was the right venue for that. I kept feeling like they needed to just be out in the real world and just try it away from all these other people who were getting involved, and they really, both of them weren't open to dating other people, and nobody else really could date them because they were in this situation. So I think a lot of us sort of felt like, just go home, take it slow, see where this goes outside of this.
I agree, because even like when Colton finally told her like, hey, I want to give this a shot, it just felt like it took so much pushing and pulling and struggling. It was like, do you even want this now? After he had to be convinced so hard, it just felt like...
I think sometimes guys do need to push them.
I don't know, I feel like he wasn't sure though.
I think he still wasn't sure. I think that was what it comes down to, is that even though he was given the push and then he sort of felt like he was all in, I think there was still some reservations.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think for Tia, and she even said, like, once she was with Chris and she felt like he had lied to her, then she was like, well, I'd rather be with Colton, who's indecisive and always honest with me, than someone who I feel like has lied to me.
And I just think like Colton and Tia just have like a connection. It's just like that's something, and when you feel that way towards somebody, you are gonna give them more and more chances, because you want it so bad.
I think that you and I owe each other an opportunity and a chance to really do this. We need to give this an honest go.
Colton saying no to Jacqueline's date card was...
dumb. I thought that was like, I didn't like that. Because
is that unprecedented? Has that happened before in Paradise?
I feel like it's probably happened before, but for me, that was the moment that I thought, like, what are you even doing here then? Because he didn't, at that point, he didn't really say, like, I'm fully all in with Tia. And so, again, I'm like, why are you here then? If you're not gonna date anyone else, then you shouldn't be here if you're not gonna be all in with Tia. And so, for me, I also just felt like maybe this is the opportunity that he needs to go out and see if there's somebody else out there for him other than Tia.
Yeah, I felt bad for Jacqueline. I feel like she was going into I felt like Jenna sent her into the lion's den. I was like, I don't know about Colton. Like, you don't want a guy who's unsure. Like, you want someone who's...
I think we all just were trying to break the pattern. Yeah, and so we were like, go for Colton, go for Colton, because he is such a great guy, and he's handsome, and he's a sweetheart, and so I think we all were just like, he needs to get away from this Tia situation, and so go for it, but obviously it backfired.
I know.
And then she was sent home.
She took Kenny,
I thought their date was nice. I thought it was cute. I mean, I didn't really see a lot of chemistry between them.
I think that was the thing that, watching it back, Bibiana and Jacqueline, their time with Kenny, I felt like, oh yeah, they had great conversation, but then seeing my conversation with him, I just felt like it was a little bit more comfortable.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I do think and maybe it was because we did have such a strong friendship at that point already that we just like had this ease between us.
Yeah, I saw that too.
I don't want to close the door to this being a possibility
I don't either.
Okay.
So let's open the door.
Jordan's outfit last night was
Bananas.
I loved it.
Yeah, I mean,
it was very on brand. I will say that.
He's always trying to make a statement.
Yes.
He made a couple last night, a couple statements. When he walked in, though, I think we were all just like jaws dropped. Like, who are you right now? It was definitely hilarious. But the funny thing is, I don't know if he fully meant it to be like funny though. I feel like he was like very serious about. Like,
well, at first we thought it was a romper, but it was actually a two-piece. I think.
Yeah, it was a vest.
Yeah. My favorite line was Caroline. She said, "Jordan looks like that Ken Barbie doll from Toy Story," and I was like, "That is amazing. It was so true,
so accurate." And I mean, that's who he is.
Then, like as the night moved on, and he had like his little tantrum and the meltdown, it was like comical / hard to take seriously when he was wearing that outfit.
I know. I mean, Jordan, I feel like is one of those people that I always had a hard time sort of taking him seriously just because...
I was going to say that though. Okay, so I wanted to ask you, we can come back to like the suit later, but I wanted to ask you, like, when he was courting you at the beginning, did you take him seriously? Because I kind of got the sense that you were interested in it just to be open, but I wasn't sure if you took him seriously.
That's like, you nailed it. It was completely that. I remember the night that we did the dinner, all day he was like, we're gonna do dinner on the beach, and I totally thought he was joking. I'm like, like I'll believe it when I see it. Like, you're not actually, I just kept thinking, you're not actually interested in me, like this is just all for fun or whatever. And I think that's probably why it like stung a little bit more though, because I was like, oh, you actually were interested, you know. Right. And then I'm like, shoot, this could have been something. But honestly, he and Jenna were way better suited. As soon as she walked in, I was like, okay, this is a relationship that I would like to see develop, you know, but it always stings a little bit when you go through something like that, even if you're not fully invested. But my whole thing, the whole time I was there is like, I just want to be open 100%, and you know, like, I want to be surprised by somebody at the end of this. And I thought, oh, maybe Jordan's going to be that big surprise, you know?
Right. So when you guys were shooting the show, how much of Becca's season had you seen? Like, had you seen Jordan and like his...
I had only seen the first episode. And so that was the other thing. Like, I didn't know very much about Jordan. Right. And so I thought, well, maybe the first night that was just like his shtick, you know? He's just like trying to be funny, and maybe like we see a much more serious side, which I think like we do a little bit. But and I don't know if maybe it's because I'm older than him or what, but when he was like courting me that first week,
I don't know why I said that. I saw him from the 1950s.
but when he was like so interested, I really did feel like this is a much more serious side of him, and he was showing me a side that was the serious, ready for a relationship Jordan. And so I'm like, oh, okay, you know, he can have fun and be goofy, but then there is this side of him that's like ready and whatnot. So
yeah. And you mentioned that he's younger than you, and I think last night we actually really saw that age and maturity difference when he had like his little fit, and then you went and spoke to him.
I feel like you want to talk to him like a child in the corner and time out. It was actually like pretty hilarious.
You were like reasoned with him. You were on his level. Like, listen, I understand why you're upset, but that was really inappropriate. And you got him to go back and do a somewhat decent apology.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad that he did apologize.
Yes.
I personally did not feel like it was a very genuine apology, but at least I know for somebody like that, like, it probably was difficult for him to even apologize.
Well, his humility bar is low. Right. So the fact that he could get in front of everybody.
So I did appreciate that he did that, but it was not his greatest moment. Right. And that was the thing. I had seen such a different side of him, so I was like, don't be that guy, you know?
Yeah.
Annaliese, I'm deeply sorry. Thank you for coming and talking to me. Eric, thank you for coming and talking to me.
Thank you.
This is genuine for me. I apologize.
I felt for him in that moment too. Obviously his behavior was crazy, but I also was like, if someone is constantly needling you over and over, you're gonna snap at some point. And I feel like David I don't even think he's interested in Jenna. I think he's just doing it to get a rise out of Jordan.
Absolutely.
Like, what was your vibe with their whole situation?
I felt like they both were just constantly poking. Like, I don't think it was just David doing it to Jordan. I think it was a mutual thing that I think they almost like it in a weird way, you know? Because it is sort of just like, okay, guys, be done with it. Yeah, but then they would continue to do it.
So here's a question for you. If you were in Jenna's position and you and Jordan were together and he acted that way towards Chelsea and Jubilee and like had that little fit, would that be a deal breaker for you?
Absolutely. Yeah. I just felt like, for a number of reasons, I don't think it's okay to talk to women that way, but I also don't think it's okay to handle a situation that way, to have like an outburst like that. So I feel like the fact that he even got to the level where he had that sort of outburst was just showed, like you said, a maturity that I'm looking for somebody who's going to handle things in a much different way. And I felt like he was lashing out, and he took it way too far. I don't think he even wanted to take it that far, but that's again like where I think maybe other people would have handled it differently, and you know.
Yes.
So.
She seems truly understanding and accepting of this little hiccup. Even the nicest neighborhoods have speed bumps, okay?
Is there ever anything that you worry about watching play out, that like you're worried about maybe something you said in an on-camera interview? Do you ever get a little nervous before you see a show?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's times where I'm like, oh, maybe I had one too many margaritas, and you know, maybe I said something stupid. But I think the thing is that I'm very much like aware of who I am and the kind of person that I am, and so I think for the most part, like I would never want certain things said on camera, and it's also just not the type of person that I am. Yeah. So I don't have to worry too much. I think for me, the biggest thing is just it's now real life, and so when you're in that bubble, you sort of sometimes forget that there are consequences sometimes to what you say. And so, and so I think just like being in the real world now and just realizing like, oh shoot, I hope this doesn't look this way to somebody, or you start to think about those things a little bit more, and that's where I get stressed out. But so far, I feel like I'm getting through every week.
I think so. I think you're looking good.
Yeah. And obviously we saw at the end of the episode, you're kind of building with Kenny a little bit. Is he someone that you would like normally go for?
No, both Jordan and Kenny are very far out of like my typical type, I guess you would say. But that's exactly why I went on Paradise, because I thought this is my opportunity to actually date somebody who maybe I wouldn't naturally be gravitated towards. Right. But being in that environment and getting to know people and spending all day with them and having really long conversations, you do realize the important qualities that you're looking for, and they really shine through because you are getting to know them like for the person that they are, and not just like looking at a picture and swiping
like
or whatever.
Or something.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, what is your usual type?
The funny thing is I actually do date a lot of like models and actors. So Jordan maybe fits into that type, but he's not the typical model actor that I date. I usually like tall, dark, handsome Europeans. But I really like funny, kind, somebody who I can just feel comfortable with, and I like somebody with a lot of confidence, and I don't know, you just know it when you know it, right?
You said last night, you were like, now I'm just looking for someone nice who like adores me. And I was like,
aren't we all? Perfect.
Aren't we all?
I know, it's so simple, but it's so hard to find.
Exactly. And also you said last night that you kind of wanted to step out of like what you normally do in a relationship since you were still single. So what was that behavior that you kind of wanted to change?
I think for me, the biggest thing is if I'm not fully like immediately attracted, then I just
kind of
shut down. And so I think for last night especially, like I felt like it was so fun having the date with Kenny, the little wrestling thing, just because it gave us an opportunity just to be playful and really step out of that normal behavior. And I think it is easy for me to get into like a playful zone if I'm really into somebody immediately. And so it was pushing myself to be like, can I feel that?
Mm. All right. Well, thank you so much for being here with us, and we look forward to watching you tonight.
Yeah, tonight
and next week, and hopefully the next week.
We'll see.